Just a quick screencast ad hoc to show some changes I made to the settings file and getting them into position on the system. So here's the MMX file that's been updated, and it's trend settings version P14 DTAB.mmx, because that one has the changes for the total power and relative power by band. And so to use those, we just copy that and paste it into C program data persist. I've already pasted it in here. And so if these don't show up, if the program data folder doesn't show up under the view tab, of course you can select the hidden items and that'll show up, and you can paste it just into program data persist. So once it's in there, and I already have a recording loaded, then you go to preferences, trend preferences, and select template file. And that's where we pick this delta, theta, alpha, beta, MMX. So I already have that file loaded. And so I'm going to cancel out of this. And when I click the drop down here, you see this panel is a bit longer than the standard one. We still have versus baseline comprehensive set as the default. And here's where we have those G-pads, and then here's where things are a bit more suppressed. So, and of course, these are adjustable to, the default was 4, kind of faint there, so these are all adjustable just by clicking Scale Legend. Now, the trends that were added, we still have the original ones we did, the relative, delta, theta, alpha, beta, and that's just going by hemisphere. But then, to get the relative power for the recording, and I just started out using 1200 seconds because they're about 20 minutes. These are showing a time average over 20 minutes for relative delta, relative theta, relative alpha, relative beta. And of course, to see the values, you just click towards the end of this trend at the end of the recording. So if you have a 20-minute record, go to the end of it, and then just show values, and it's going to give a time average over the last 20 minutes of the values for each one of those. And so 42, 44% for each one of these. And these can be copied, of course, out of there. The other thing that we've added, well, that's most of what we added. The relative theta is still there, and that's just then populating a versus background relative theta. I put in a background or baseline early in the recording, and we can see changes in z-scores. So that's applicable to line graphs. This is really just an example that it can be done for spectrograms or line graphs. Here's delta, theta, alpha, beta by quadrant overlap. It also includes hemisphere. And so here we have left hemisphere, right hemisphere for delta, theta, alpha, beta. And so they're overlapped as each one of these. So the black is delta, theta, alpha, beta. And these are all set to master control. So if they're down at the bottom of the screen like that, you can scale those up, and you can see total power in each one of those bands. So we have left and right hemisphere, and then we go by quadrant down this way. And of course, if we right click over here and show values, then you're going to get your delta, theta, alpha, beta amplitudes where the cursor position is. So when you have overlap trends, it still will break out those values. And so that's the change to this. But the main thing was just adding that item that you wanted to have, which is the ability to go to the end of the record, show values, and then see 20-minute average. If the recording's for 20 minutes, it'll basically average it over the length of the recording. Now these time trends, when I click on the label at the top, that's where the duration is set here. So if you wanted to use longer durations, it's just a matter of clicking on them and changing the value under the time tab to a different one. And that's it. Any questions, feel free to email or call, or we'll web conference. Hope the rest of your day goes well. Take care.